Once upon a time, in a big house in Ikoyi, Lagos, there lived a woman named Madam Vivian. She was very rich. She had 3 cars, a Mercedes, a Lexus and a Range Rover. Her house had 12 rooms, a swimming pool and a big garden with flowers. She wore expensive clothes and gold jewelries every day. People respected her because she had money. But Madam Vivian had a secret, a terrible dark secret. She was planning to kill her husband. Living in that same house was a woman called Mama Buki. She was the housemaid. She cleaned, cooked and washed and did everything Madam Vivian told her to do. Mama Buki was poor, very poor. She came from a village in Osun State. Her husband died 5 years ago, leaving her with nothing. So she came to Lagos to work as a housemaid to survive. Mama Buki lived with her daughter, Buki. Buki was only 9 years old. She had a big, innocent eyes and a sweet smile. She was a quiet child who liked to hide in corners and read old newspapers. Because Madam Vivian didn't send her to school, Buki taught herself how to read by looking at old magazines and newspapers that she found in the house. Every morning, Buki would help her mother clean. Every afternoon, while the adults rested, Buki would hide in a small room around the house and read or play with her old doll, the only toy she had. Nobody paid attention to her. She was just the housemaid's daughter, invisible and unimportant. Being invisible meant that Buki saw and had things that others thought were secrets. And one day, Buki had something that changed everything. It was a Wednesday afternoon in the hot month of March. Madam Vivian's husband was called Chief Okafor. Chief Okafor was a big man, tall, fat and always laughing. He was kind to everyone, including Buki and her mother. "Mama Buki, this your food is sweet," he would say after eating. "You are a great cook." He would even give Buki money sometimes. "Oya, take this 20 naira, buy biscuits for yourself," he would say, smiling. Buki liked Chief Okafor. He was the only person in the house who saw her as a human being, not just a housemaid's child. But Madam Vivian hated her husband. Why? Because Chief Okafor was planning to marry a second wife. You see, Madam Vivian and Chief Okafor had been married for 15 years, but they had no children. Madam Vivian couldn't get pregnant. They went to so many hospitals in Nigeria and abroad, yet nothing worked. Chief Okafor's family was putting pressure on him. "You need a son to inherit your wealth," they told him. "If Vivian cannot give you children, then marry another wife who can." Chief Okafor loved his wife, but he also wanted children. So he told Madam Vivian that he was going to marry a younger woman, a 25-year-old girl from his village who could give him children. Madam Vivian was furious. She screamed, cried and broke things. But Chief Okafor's mind was made up. "The traditional marriage is in 2 weeks, he told her. "I'm sorry, Vivian, but I need an heir." After that day, something changed in Madam Vivian. Her eyes became cold. She stopped talking to her husband. She would just stare at him with a look that made even Mama Buki uncomfortable. And then, that Wednesday afternoon, Buki overheard the conversation that would change her life forever. It was around 2 p.m. Chief Okafor had gone to his office. Madam Buki was in the kitchen preparing dinner for the family. Little Buki was hiding in the storeroom, a small room near the sitting room where Madam Vivian kept old things. Buki liked to hide there because she found old newspapers and magazines to read. She was sitting on the floor, reading an old newspaper about a wedding, when she heard voices. Madam Vivian was in the sitting room and she wasn't alone. Buki peeped through a small crack in the storeroom door. She saw Madam Vivian sitting on a sofa with a man. The man was thin and dark, wearing a black shirt. Buki had never seen him before. "Are you sure this will work?" Madam Vivian was asking the man. The man nodded. "Madam, I'm sure. This is my profession. I've done it many times. Your husband will die and nobody will suspect anything." Buki's heart started beating fast. Die? Did he just say her husband would die? How will you do it? Madam Vivian asked. Poison, the man said simply. But not ordinary poison. This one is special. It is slow. It will make him sick gradually. First stomach pain, then weakness, then organ failure. In 2 weeks, he'll be dead. And the doctors will think it's a natural illness. No one will know it's poison. Buki's small hand started shaking. Her mouth was open in shock. Madam Vivian was planning to kill Okafor. When will you do it? She asked. I'll start adding it to his food tomorrow. Small, every day. Just make sure that whatever food he eats, I have access to it first. That won't be a problem, Madam Vivian said. My housemaid cooks the food and keeps it in the kitchen. Before we serve my husband, I will call you. You will come through the back door, add your poison and leave. Simple. The man smiled. It was an evil smile that made Buki want to cry. After he dies, you will give me the remaining money, the man said. We agreed on 2 million, right? You've paid half, so when he dies, you balance me. Don't worry about the money, Madam Vivian said. Just make sure he dies before that village girl becomes his wife. I will not share my husband with anyone. If I can't have him, nobody will. They talked for a few minutes, then the man left through the back door. Buki stayed in the storeroom frozen. Her whole body was shaking. Her heart was beating so loud she thought it would burst out of her chest. She just had a plan to commit murder. What was she going to do? That night, the little girl could not sleep. She lay on the mat in the small room she shared with her mother, staring at the ceiling. Should I tell someone? But who? If she told her mother, what would her mother do? She was just a housemaid, and she had no power. If she reported Madam Vivian would deny it and then fire her mother. Where would they go? They had no money and no other place to stay. Should she tell Chief Okafor? But he might not believe a 9-year-old girl. Adults never believe children. He might think she's lying or imagining things. And what if Madam Vivian found out that Buki told someone? What would she do to them? A woman that could plan to kill her own husband, what would she do to a housemaid and her daughter? Buki cried silently. She was just a child. This was too big for her, too scary. Buki, are you crying? Her mother's voice came from the darkness. She quickly wiped her tears. No, Mama, I'm fine. Okay, sleep well, my daughter. Buki wanted to tell her mother everything, but fear held her tongue. She decided to stay silent because it was safer. But could she really stay silent while someone was about to be killed? The next day was Thursday, the day that the poisoning was supposed to start. Buki woke up with a sick feeling in her stomach. She followed her mother around like a shadow, watching everything. Mama Buki prepared Chief Okafor's favorite soup, a goosey soup with plenty stockfish and meat. The aroma filled the whole house. Mama Buki, that soup smells delicious, Chief Okafor said when he came home for lunch. Mama Buki dished the soup into a big plate with pounded yam. She kept it on the kitchen counter. I'm going to serve Oga now, Mama Buki told Buki. But then, Madam Vivian entered the kitchen. Mama Buki, leave it. I will serve my husband today. You go upstairs and clean the upstairs bathroom. There's water on the floor. Mama Buki looked surprised. Madam Vivian never served her husband's food. Never. But she couldn't question her madam. Yes, ma, she replied and went immediately. Buki pretended to be sweeping the corridor, but she was watching. She saw Madam Vivian look around to make sure no one was watching. Then she went to the back door and opened it. The thin man came in quickly. He brought out a small bottle from his pocket. Without saying a word, he poured some powder into the soup. He stirred it with a spoon and then left immediately. The whole thing took less than a minute. Madam Vivian closed the back door, picked up the plate and went to the dining room where her husband was waiting. Buki's heart was pounding. It was happening. The man was really poisoning Chief Okafor's food. She watched as Chief Okafor ate the soup with relish, not knowing that every spoonful contained poison. This soup is sweet as always, Chief Okafor said to his wife. Tell Mama Buki, thank you for me. Madam Vivian just smiled a cold, evil smile. Buki felt like vomiting. She ran outside to the garden and started crying. I have to do something now. I have to save Chief. But how? That night, Chief Okafor started complaining. "My stomach is paining me. Maybe I ate too much," he told his wife. "It will pass," Madam Vivian said, not even looking up from her phone. "Just rest." But the pain didn't pass. By midnight, Chief Okafor was groaning. Mama Buki heard him and woke up. "Should I boil water for Oga?" she asked Madam Vivian. "No need, he's fine. Go back to sleep." But Chief Okafor wasn't fine. He spent the whole night in the toilet, vomiting and having diarrhea. Buki couldn't sleep. She heard his groans through the thin walls. She knew it was the poison working. "God, please help me. Tell me what to do. I don't want Chief to die," she prayed silently. By the next morning, Chief Okafor was too weak to go to work. "I think I have food poisoning," he said weakly. "It will pass," Madam Vivian again said, the same old, cold response. Chief Okafor stayed in bed all day. He didn't eat breakfast, but at lunchtime, he said he was feeling a bit better and wanted to eat. Madam Buki prepared rice and stew. Again, Madam Vivian said, "Leave it, I'll serve him." The man came in again through the back door, and the poison was added to Chief Okafor's food. But this time, Buki had a plan. She had been thinking all night. She couldn't tell adults directly. They wouldn't believe her, but she could try something else. After the man left, and Madam Vivian took the food to her husband, Buki waited. She quietly went to Chief Okafor's bedroom. The door was open. Chief Okafor was sitting up in bed about to eat. "Sir," Buki said in her small voice. Chief Okafor looked up and smiled weakly. "Ah, Buki, how are you, my dear?" "I'm fine, sir." Buki's hands were shaking. "Sir, please don't eat the food." Chief Okafor laughed a little. "Why? Don't you want me to get strong again?" "Sir, the food is... Buki didn't know how to say it without directly accusing Madam Vivian. "The food is what?" Madam Vivian's cold voice came from behind Buki. Buki jumped, startled. She didn't hear Madam Vivian enter. Her heart started pounding with fear. Buki stammered. "She probably wants to taste it," Chief Okafor said, laughing. "Children are always hungry." "Buki, after I finish eating, I'll ask your mommy to give you some food, okay?" "Yes, sir," Buki whispered, looking down. She couldn't say more, not with Madam Vivian staring at her with those cold, dangerous eyes. As Buki left the room, she heard Madam Vivian's voice, low but threatening. "That child is always wandering around where she doesn't belong." Buki ran to her room and cried. She tried to warn Chief, but it didn't work. He was going to eat the poisoned food anyway. That afternoon, Chief Okafor's condition got worse, much worse. By Saturday morning, he could barely move. He was vomiting blood. His skin was turning yellow. He was sweating even though the air conditioner was on. "We need to take him to the hospital," Mama Buki said, frightened. Finally, Madam Vivian agreed, but Buki noticed she didn't look worried. She looked rather satisfied. They took Chief Okafor to Echo Hospital in an ambulance. They admitted him and he was put on drip and given various medications. "We are not sure what's wrong," the doctor told Madam Vivian. "His organs are failing. It's like his body is shutting down. We'll keep running tests." Madam Vivian stayed at the hospital during the day, but at night she would go home. Mama Buki would stay at the hospital to watch over Chief Okafor, and little Buki would come with her mother. For 3 days, Chief Okafor lay in that hospital bed, getting weaker and weaker. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. They tested for everything: malaria, typhoid, kidney disease, liver disease, but nothing made sense. "It's like he's being poisoned," one doctor said to another. Buki had them talking outside the room. "But we've tested for all known poisons and found nothing." Buki's hand gripped her door tightly. She knew exactly what was happening, but she was too afraid to speak. Until Sunday night. That night, something terrible happened. Chief Okafor started convulsing. His body was shaking violently on the bed. Machines were beeping loudly. The nurses and the doctors rushed in. "We're losing him," the doctor shouted. Mama Buki was crying. Oga, please don't die, please. Madam Vivian stood in the corner watching, and Buki saw something that made her blood run cold. Madam Vivian was smiling, just a tiny smile, but Buki saw it. The woman was happy her husband was dying. Something broke inside Buki at that moment. All the fear and silence, it just broke. Chief Okafor had been kind to her. He had given her money for biscuits. He had smiled at her when others ignored her. He treated her like she mattered. And now, he was dying because she was too afraid to speak up. Not anymore. Buki ran out of the hospital room. She ran down the corridor looking for someone, anyone who could help. She saw a policeman standing by the hospital entrance. There was always a police at big hospitals in Lagos. Sir, please. Buki ran to him, pulling his uniform. Small girl, what's the problem? The policeman asked. Please, sir, they are killing somebody upstairs. They are poisoning him. Please, you have to stop them. The policeman looked down at the small, desperate child. What are you talking about? Chief Okafor, he's in room 304. His wife is poisoning him. I had her planning it. There's a man that comes to put poison in his food. Please, sir, you have to believe me. He's dying now, please. The policeman saw the desperation in the little girl's eyes. He saw tears streaming down her face. He saw a child who was telling the truth. Come and show me, he said. Buki grabbed his hand and pulled him towards the elevator. They went up to the 3rd floor. They rushed to room 304. When they entered, Chief Okafor had stopped convulsing. He was lying very still, too still. The doctors were surrounding him, trying to revive him. What's going on here? The policeman said in a loud voice. Everyone turned to look at him. Who are you? Madam Vivian asked coldly. I'm Officer Adeleke from Bar Beach Police Station. This child says someone is poisoning this man. What? Madam Vivian's face changed. She looked at Buki with pure hatred. That stupid child. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's just a housemaid's daughter, probably mentally disturbed. Sir, it's true, Buki cried. I had Madam planning it. There's a man in black who comes to put poison in Chief's food. I saw it with my own eyes. 3 times I saw him come to the house. This is nonsense. Officer, I don't know what this child is talking about. My husband is sick. That's all. But the doctor who earlier mentioned poison suddenly spoke up. Officer, actually we've been suspecting poisoning. His symptoms don't match any natural disease, but we couldn't find any known poison in his system. That's because it's a special poison, Buki said. The man said it's special. He said no test can detect it. He said it will make Chief look like he died naturally. The policeman looked at Buki carefully. This child knew too many details. Children don't make up stories like this. Madam, I need you to come to the station with me for questioning, the policeman said to Madam Vivian. What? On the word of a 9-year-old? This is ridiculous. I'm not going anywhere. My husband is dying and you want to arrest me? I'm not arresting you, ma. Just questioning. I said no. Get out of this room. All of you, get out. But then something happened that shocked everyone. Chief Okafor's eyes opened. He was weak, but he was conscious. Vivian, he whispered. Everyone went quiet. Madam Vivian rushed to his side. Darling, you're awake. Thank God. But Chief Okafor's eyes were not looking at his wife with love. They were looking at her with sadness and knowing. I had everything. Madam Vivian's face went pale. What do you mean? I've been drifting in and out. I had Buki talking to the policeman. I had it all. His voice was weak. They had to lean in to hear him. Is it true, Vivian? Have you been poisoning me? Madam Vivian's hand started shaking. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Vivian, answer me. Chief Okafor's tears started falling. Did you really try to kill me? Your own husband? Madam Vivian looked around. Everyone was staring at her. Her face changed. Her pretense dropped. The coldness came back. Yes, I did. Gasps filled the room. You were going to bring another woman into my house. After After 15 years of marriage, you were going to embarrass me, make me a laughing stock, share your love with another woman. I couldn't let that happen. So, you decided to kill me? Chief Okafor's voice broke. If I can't have you, nobody will. You were supposed to die, Madam Vivian screamed. You were supposed to be dead by now. And that stupid child ruined everything. She pointed at Buki with pure hatred. The policeman immediately grabbed Vivian's hand. Madam, you are under arrest for attempted murder. Let me go! Let me go! Madam Vivian fought and screamed, but the policeman was strong. He called for backup on his radio. As they dragged Madam Vivian out of the room, she looked back at Buki one last time. You! She screamed. You stupid housemaid's child! You've destroyed everything! Everything! But Buki wasn't afraid anymore. She had done the right thing. She had been braved and saved a life. The doctors immediately took action. Now they knew it was poisoning. They could try different treatments. They pumped Chief Okafor's stomach, gave him activated charcoal to absorb the remaining poison. They gave him fluids to flush his system. It took 3 days, but slowly, Chief Okafor started getting better. Meanwhile, the police investigated and they found the man in black. His name was Tunde, a known criminal who had been involved in many poisoning cases. They arrested him. Tunde confessed everything. He showed them the bottle of poison, a rare substance imported from Asia that a regular test couldn't detect. He showed them text messages between him and Madam Vivian planning the whole thing. The evidence was overwhelming. Madam Vivian was charged with attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The case went to court and she was found guilty and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Tunde got life imprisonment. 2 weeks after the incident, Chief Okafor was discharged from the hospital. He looked weak, but he was alive and he was grateful. He called for Mama Buki and little Buki to meet him in the sitting room. When they came, Chief Okafor was sitting on the sofa, looking at Buki with tears in his eyes. My dear, come, he said softly. Buki walked slowly to him, shy and nervous. Chief Okafor held her small hands. You saved my life. Do you know that if you didn't speak up, I would have been dead by now? I was afraid, sir. I didn't want to speak up, but you were dying, and you were always kind to me, and I didn't want to let you die. Tears fell from Chief Okafor's eyes. You are just a child, a 9-year-old, and you risk everything to save my life, while my own wife tried to kill me. And you're not even related to me. You saved me. He wiped his tears and smiled. I will never forget what you did, my dear. Then Chief Okafor made an announcement that shocked both Mama Buki and Buki. From today, things will change in this house. Mama Buki, you are no longer a housemaid. You are now the housekeeper. Your salary is now 200,000 naira per month. Mama Buki's mouth dropped open. Sir? 200,000? Yes. And Buki, you will start school in September. I'll pay for everything. Your school fees, uniform, books. You will go to one of the best schools in Lagos. And when you finish secondary school, I will sponsor you to the university. I will make sure you get the best education. Buki started crying happy tears. She had dreamed of going to school, but she never imagined it was going to happen anytime soon. And that's not all. I'm going to adopt you, Buki. Legally, you will become my daughter, my heir. Everything I own, my houses, my business, my money, one day, it will be all yours. Mama Buki collapsed to her knees crying. Sir, this is too much. It's too much. It's not enough. Your daughter saved my life. How can I ever repay that? He looked at Buki again. And there's one more thing. The wedding I'm planning with that girl from the village, I've cancelled it. I don't need biological children. Buki, you are now my child. You are enough. Buki threw herself into Chief Okafor's arms and hugged him tightly, crying tears of joy. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I promise I'll study hard and I'll make you proud. You've already made me proud, Chief said, hugging her back. You've always made me proud. Years passed. Buki grew up. She went to Corona School, then Queen's College. She was brilliant. Chief Okafor kept his promise. He treated her like his own daughter. He took her on trips abroad. He attended every school event. He was proud of her. Mama Buki retired from being a housekeeper and started her own small business with the money Chief Okafor gave her. She was no longer poor. When Buki turned 18, Chief Okafor organized a big birthday party for her. All of Lagos came to celebrate. At the party, Chief Okafor gave a speech. "This young woman you see here saved my life when she was just 9 years old. She had every reason to stay silent, but she did not. She was just a child, poor, powerless, and she was afraid. But she chose courage over fear. She chose to do what was right over what was safe." The guests clapped. "Today, I announce that Buki is officially my heir. She will inherit everything I own, not because she saved my life, but because she has proven herself to be someone of great character. She's my daughter in every way that matters." Buki stood up with tears in her eyes. Daddy, you changed my life. You gave me a chance when I was nobody. You showed me that one act of courage can change everything, and I will spend the rest of my life making you proud." Chief Okafor hugged her tightly. "You already do, my daughter, every single day." As for Madam Vivian, she remained in prison. Chief Okafor never visited her. He divorced her while she was in prison. Sometimes, lying down on her hard prison bed, she would think about how everything went wrong. If only she had just accepted her husband's decision. If only she hadn't let jealousy consume her. If only she hadn't underestimated a 9-year-old child. But it was too late for if onlys. Her greed and jealousy cost her everything. Her freedom, her marriage, and most of all, her humanity. Meanwhile, the stupid housemaid's child she tried to silence was now living in her house, driving her cars and inheriting her husband's wealth. This was the justice of it all. This story reminds us of many lessons. Never underestimate a child. Even the smallest voice can speak the loudest truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's just doing the right thing despite being afraid. Little Buki was terrified, but she spoke up anyways. Silence in the face of evil makes you a part of the evil. If Buki had stayed silent, she would have carried the guilt forever. Kindness comes back to you. Chief Okafor was kind to Buki when he didn't have to be, and that kindness saved his life. Jealousy and greed destroy everything. Madam Vivian had a good life, but her jealousy made her throw it all away. Your background doesn't determine your destiny. Buki was born poor, the daughter of a housemaid, but one act of courage changed her entire life. The truth may be scary to speak, but it will always set you free. Little Buki, the child who knew too much, chose to be brave, and that bravery changed not just her life, but saved another life too. Remember, as children, if you see or hear something wrong, something dangerous, don't be afraid to tell a trusted adult. Your voice matters. Your courage matters. Never let anyone make you think your voice doesn't count, because sometimes the smallest person in the room is the bravest.